Hey everybody, welcome back to Matthew Kelly Pottery on YouTube. I hope you are doing well today. We are not actually going to talk about carving again today, but I thought I'd start up the video showing you this umbrella stand that I made, that I did some more carving on, very similar to those jugs or those bottles in the last video. I have three sides of this done with carving similar to that, and I'm really excited about it, really happy with it, and can't wait to see that finished out of the wood kiln. But today we are going to trim some feet on some cups. That's right, I said trim a foot on a cup. Yep, this might be a little scary because I don't normally trim feet, as most of you know, but today we're going to do it because I wanted to make some cups with some trimmed feet, so let's go. All right, here we are. I know this. I know that 0% of people, none of us, like to do things that are uncomfortable to us. And even less than that, less than zero, even less people like to do those things that are uncomfortable for them in front of other people or on camera. And today I'm just doing all those. So here we go. I'm not familiar with trimming feet on cups or bowls or anything because I don't normally do that. Most of you know that. And today I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on camera. Okay, I did cheat. I did trim one already, okay? And I'm not a huge fan of the foot that I trimmed on it, but I have trimmed one, okay? I have my my chuck that I made here yesterday. As I was throwing these, I threw this so that it would dry at the same rate, and today that I could use it to set the cups upside down on to trim them. The reason I made that is because some of the rims of these cups are uneven because of the trimming that I did on the cup on the outside. Like I did this with, I put the slip on it, I dried it, and then I carved through it with a cheese cutter. So that made the rim of that uneven. So I knew I couldn't use a flat surface to trim that. Some of these might be fine if I did that, but I thought I'd go ahead and make this chuck that I could set the pots on top of, somewhat get them somewhat centered on the chuck, and then trim them that way. So this is what we're doing. I made 10 cups yesterday, and I altered most of them in some sort of way. This one had some throwing lines, and then I carved through it with the cheese cutter. So most of them have some kind of trimming on them, or slip, and then carving of some kind. And then I just wanted to trim the foot on the bottom. So that's what we're doing today. And like I said, if I fail, if I mess up, most likely you're going to see it. And but I did do one successful. It was a little hairy, a little tense, but I got it done. And so now we're going to trim the rest of them. So yeah, let's get to it. Here are the tools, the main tools that I'm going to use to trim these. Number one, like I said, I have my chuck that I threw yesterday that is angled so that I can slide the cups down on there. You can see where the rim of the last one went set down on there. I have my trimming spinner from Diamond Core Tools. I have my half dome trimming tool from Diamond Core Tools as well, and I like this one. This is one of the ones that they sent me that I didn't order, but they sent me, and I love the fact that it has one 90-degree angle there, and the other one is curved, so the half dome. I love that because then I can get a sharp angle here, or I can get a curved angle with that side. Really cool trimming tool. I'm excited to use this for more and more uses, but today this is going to be used to trim our cups. So mainly what I'm going to do is take a cup and get it set down on my chuck. This one doesn't set down on there very far at all. It's got a little bit of a smaller top. Then I'm going to get that somewhat centered on the chuck. Try to get it as close as I can. And then what I'm going to do is use the trimming spinner on top, and that will hold it down in place while I trim the excess off the outside. And then of course when I get to making the inside of the foot, I'll have to move the trimming spinner, but for now I can leave that on there while I do. I try to get this somewhat centered here. I can leave the trimming spinner on there while I carve away the excess, and I can use the downward pressure while I'm trimming away the excess to keep the cup down on the chuck, and that definitely helps out a lot for this part of the trimming. Alright, now that I've got that trimmed down to that point, I can remove the trimming spinner. I've got the base of the cup trimmed up to where the foot is going to be. I made it hard on myself by carving on these because that causes the trimmer or the carver or the trim tool here to bounce up and down as I'm doing that, but I think we'll be okay. Now pushing it in the center, and in order to, I try to keep fingers still on the cup because the way this is sitting on the chuck, especially this one not sitting that far down on the chuck, I think it could very easily come right up off of the chuck. And at least my first one did that a little bit as I was trying to trim it, and I about lost it. So I'm gonna try to be easy with this one. Like I said, this is where I like that sharp, the 90-degree edge on this one, because I can, as I get down to the edge there, I can curve it. So I get down to there. Now that I'm looking at this, I think I can carve the outside a little bit more. Oop, there we go. Knocked it off a little bit. Alright, we can put this back on there. I don't know. I trimmed the inside of that foot a little farther than I expected to, and part of my goal, and I think part of trimming, is to get so that this curve here kind of matches the curve that's on the inside of the foot there, so it looks like that foot's just kind of resting there on the outside, and the curve from the inside of that foot matches the curve that's on the outside. And so I got that there, and that curve down to a little bit of a point. Alright, undercut this a little bit more. Woo. Alright, I think I got that where I want it. I'm just going to add a little bit of water and smooth this up with my fingers. Don't want to add too much water, but I want to try to push down as much of that grog as possible on all this. So use my fingers for that. All right, even though it let go, I think we're good on that one. And there we go. We got a nice trim foot on that one, and still have the parts there. I'll come back later as these dry and trim and clean up some more of that where I carved through. I'm definitely really happy with that one. I like that cup. I'll probably have to end up keeping one of these. But there we go. All right, we have 5 of them trimmed so far, and I think they've gone well so far. There are the 3 with the black slip on them that have been trimmed, and there's the 2 without slip that have been trimmed. And like I said, I'm very happy with the way they've gone so far. The feet look pretty nice. They're, I think, good size based on the cup. I did a little fancy swirl on the bottom of that one. But we're gonna get to trimming the rest of them, but first we gotta go check on sorry, I forgot the camera's up there, not looking at myself. I gotta go check on a bisque kiln back here that we're firing in my gas kiln, so I thought in the middle of that I'd bring you along and show you what's going on out here. We got my gas kiln heating up. I've got all 4 burners on, but they're all pretty low. I'm just gonna turn up a couple of the burners here. Around to the other side. This has got this bisque kiln. That bisque kiln has one big planter in it that actually I made that I'm gonna give to my mother-in-law for her new place, and then it has a bunch of pieces. Actually, the pieces that I carved in my last video are in there being bisque fired for my next wood firing coming up in about 5 weeks. So it is definitely busy time around here to get things made. So speaking of that, let's get back to trimming these cups. Okay, we've made it to the last cup and we haven't ruined any yet, so that's a good sign. Had a couple close calls, as you probably saw in that bit of time-lapse and sped-up video. But I believe if, like I said, if this one's gonna make it, then we'll have all of them make it, and to me that's pretty successful. I mean, I know I'm familiar with clay, but to be not familiar with trimming and not familiar with my my new tools, but getting familiar, I tell you, this trimming spinner is a winner for this part right here. This is amazing to have this, to be able to use that downward pressure on that to hold that in place while getting this foot started is definitely a big help. So trimming spinner for the win for sure, and the trimming tools also. Just this thing has been doing exactly what I need it to do, and loving it. I'm sure many of you out there are way more experienced at trimming than I am, and you're probably gonna see some things that I do and be like, man, I definitely wouldn't have done it that way. But the exciting thing is that over time, as I continue to trim more and more, I'll definitely learn things that I want to do and things that I shouldn't do, and get better at it. So that's the exciting part about this. But I'm loving how, as I trim, it's even making the spots where I'm trimming is going with the carving that I did, making some unique markings that way, and definitely loving that. I tell you that one of the biggest challenges I had was actually throwing these thick enough to trim a foot in, and I texted my buddy Ron Philbeck as I was making these, And I told him, I was like, man, I don't know, this could be a big mess, this could be cool, but I'm making some cups to trim some feet. And he trims a foot on just about everything and does an amazing job of it. And so he's like, yeah, definitely, if you're not used to leaving clay there, that's a hard thing to do. And it was definitely a hard thing to do for me to leave extra clay in the bottom when I'm not used to it. But I think it worked out pretty well. I'm happy with the way these are turning out, and I'm looking forward to doing more. I may not be able to trim a whole lot of things for this firing because I'm getting down to a time crunch. I've got 4 weeks left to make pots for this wood kiln coming up, and I have to have everything ready to glaze, everything made and ready to glaze. Actually, a little more than 4 weeks before we fire, but have to be ready to glaze and load the kiln on that 4th week. So there's another cup, and ooh, the underside of that foot's kind of messy. The underside from looking this way, I should say. There we go. Got that cleaned up. All right, let me get all these together and we'll take a look at them and end the video. Well, there we have it. We got all 10 of them trimmed. I didn't ruin any of them. At least they're not completely lost. No, I think they're great. I'm really happy with the way they turned out, especially having not trimmed many pieces ever. I trim lids for lidded jars. I do that fairly often, but that's a whole different ball game than trimming a foot on a cup. But I'm really happy with the way these turned out. I was concerned mostly with, I guess, getting the finished shape to look right, because leaving all that extra clay at the bottom, to me, it doesn't have a good shape. The form of it is really clunky by having all that extra clay at the bottom, and I was concerned about being able to trim enough of that away and I guess the correct amount of that clay away to make a good finished form and have a finished nice looking cup, or you know me, as it was finished. So very happy with that. I think it's really cool how these that I added slip to have that nice bottom there where I trimmed down to the foot, and so those are pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, some of these have that uneven top rim, and that looks really neat. And then of course you saw a few of these that I put that little swirl in the bottom inside of the foot. But I'm really excited to see these go completely through the process, and then maybe next cycle I'll trim a whole lot more pieces. I'll have some trim bowls. I may even do that for this wood firing, but I'm getting down to crunch time where I really have to focus on getting a lot of pots made to fill the kiln up. I will have a few other potters here, people here helping fire it, that will bring some pieces to put in, but there's a whole lot of space in that kiln. So I'll probably make a few more large pieces like this, maybe even some large planters this size. I know it's going to be fall by the time I unload it, and won't be time for planters, but hey, they don't go bad. They'll keep till spring if people don't buy them this fall. But anyway, really happy with this, and happy that you were here to be a part of this, and that I didn't mess up too bad in front of you. One quick quote before you go. I heard this just the other day, and I thought it was really cool. I won't tell you who it was by because it's kind of a funny story, but you may know if you've watched the podcast. But I heard the thing that I heard somebody say that if you do the thing that you most dislike doing, as if you want to do it, that's what will lead you to success. And so approaching feet was really daunting for me, trimming a foot on a cup like this. So approaching that as if I wanted to do it, I think really helped, because, well, I did want to do it, but it was kind of intimidating. So anyway, thank you guys for being here as always, and appreciate your support on the channel, on all the social media. I have a couple new patrons. Thank you guys for that. And I will be sending out my shipments to those people that I drew names for. I will let you all know on Patreon. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys. You're awesome. Appreciate you. Bye.